Thank you. Oh my God. You took me to a different world.
Which one did you go?
Oh my God, are we still live?
Which which world did you go to this time?
Oh, far away from all the noises, far away from, yeah, everything. I didn't see this picture. Yeah, thank
Different
you.
picture. Yeah, of course, absolutely. Anytime, anytime. And graciously, you finished. You've been actually going through books, so you finished recently the Breatharian at the Banquet.
That's the
Oh
one.
snap! There
That's
it
the picture.
is. Whoop, whoop, there it is.
Look at that picture.
Oh
People,
man!
people putting stuff in their mouths all day long.
And you said,
Yeah.
I remember you said on a post you were saying that you wish you were at that table. Why do you say you wish you were at that table?
I mean, this table, right? People who haven't read the book do not know what kind of table maybe I'm talking about. Imagining what table. It could be the table in your parents' house or table in the restaurant, right? But in my mind, how I imagined this table was like these people were invited to a party, right? And so in my mind, I'm just thinking like this big building and there's a feast going on, right? So the table is a big table, like a long table. And the reason why I say I want to be on that table is just, you know, being in this, reality as well. I feel like I analyze people. I'm very fascinated by people's mind, how they think, how the mind works, right? So sitting on that table would just be like a closer capture of what's going on in reality. So I can sit there and observe and think like, okay, why is this person keep on eating? Aren't you full? Right? What are you doing to yourself? And not only that, that's just the thought, but everything that's behind it, what's behind. You were talking about more of how the characters were feeling, what got them there and all of that. So just being on that table, knowing like everybody's reason why they are there, it's just, yeah, I would love to be on that table just to explore.
Sure,
So
for sure. Likewise, I feel the same when it comes to just analyzing and observing, like being an observer. Like you're one of the most keen observers that I've ever met. You're
mm,
one of the people that you see beyond the reality, but you also see the reality. You
yeah.
know, you see beyond the mentality, but you also see the mentality. So you see things that other people don't see, and I've always told you, Nabiha, that we need people who are able to see what others are unable to see.
I
And in this
mean, there
book,
are,
go ahead.
no, I mean, like there are things that I don't see that others see, right? So I feel like we are in this together. So for me, it's more like putting myself in that situation, like we're not separated, right? So that's why I can relate. And that's why I feel like it's just fun to just observe. It's like observing myself, basically.
Right,
So,
right.
yeah.
And the observer in this novel was Adrien Frost. So Adrien, what was your impression of Adrien overall? And spoilers, just a spoiler warning for people who haven't read the book yet. It's on Amazon. It's called Breatharian at the Banquet. So spoilers ahead, just putting out that disclaimer for people who don't want anything spoiled from the book. But what were your thoughts on Adrien Frost, that character?
Hmm. You know, I feel like every character had the unique, you know, ways. And Adrian was the kind of, the breatharian guy that was just sitting there observing everything happening, right? But I think both of them had the same, like, what's his name? Dimitri?
Dominic. Dominic.
Dominic? Yeah. Dominic and Adrian kind of had the same purpose.
Mm.
You know, I feel like it was just the opposite, just hot and cold. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? So for him to just sit there and observe, like, that reality that was going on, I don't know if it was a test for him, that it was like, okay, I will be on this table without touching anything. Or if his purpose was like, okay, let me just observe this mind. And he was completely detached from that. Like, I couldn't figure out. Or was he just testing himself? Like,
Mm,
you know what I mean? Was he testing himself, or was he completely detached? But he was definitely the observer on that
definitely.
table.
So I like what you say there, Nabiha. So it's almost like Dominic and Adrien were like on the same spectrum, but just different sides of the polarity on the same.
Hmm. Hmm. He
They had
was
the
just testing like how far people can go,
right.
right? While Adrian was doing the same thing, he was just like also observing how far people can go, but he wasn't imposing that, right? Like, Dominic had this kind of passion to just like see, okay, it's not my desire. I'm not testing only my limits. Let me see other people. I'm not in this myself. So for him to just see and give people the freedom to choose, he's not forcing anybody, he's not doing anything. He just put the plate in front of you. It's up to you if you want to eat it or not. You can leave the table like Adrian did, right? So I think he took it just a different approach of just testing the mind, while Adrian was just observer,
I
you know.
see. Okay, so in terms of Adrian, so Adrian kind of embodies, like you said, that restraint, that detachment. And, do you feel like his presence at the banquet, did it serve as a critique of the excess? Or do you feel like he was merely another kind of extremist who was instead rejecting the indulgence entirely? Like, was it just another level of extreme or something different?
My opinion, I think like everything has to be balanced, right? It's in the balance. So, um, I could say that he was to the extreme, both of them. One was like, eating, and one was like, rejecting, right? So who's right and who's wrong here? You can't say, right? But that's what I meant by, was he just observing, testing himself, or was he completely detached? Because you can be detached and be, at the same time part of reality, it's not, you just know what kind of energy that is, but you're not resisting,
Mm,
right? I feel like I do that. I feel like I'm not resisting anything, you know, but then I can be in it. And I don't need to eat. I can be on that table, but if I want to, I would eat. If I don't want to, I won't, but I'm not resisting myself or anything. It just doesn't resonate with me. You know what I mean? So was he that, or was he to the extreme where he's like, okay, I want to test myself. I'm not going to test. I'm not going to do this. And then he was making everybody else guilty, or making everyone else rethink about their, reason to come there,
okay.
right? Everybody was thinking like, oh, what if Adrian was right? What if Adrian was, whatever he's doing is right, right? So he made people doubt. And I don't know. I don't know. I think maybe it was to the extreme.
There there was a lot of doubt, like from different people from all sides. There were different characters that were almost like provoking doubt within other characters,
Hmm.
just by them being who they were without having to press or without having to preach or without having to teach. They were kind of reaching into the psyche of other characters. And, some people who weren't as convinced or didn't have their own conviction on the internal, they were able to kind of have that doubt from somebody else's perception on the external.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting, that dynamic with Adrian, because by refusing to partake in the meal, do you feel like Adrian is truly free from desire, or does his rejection of indulgence suggest like its own form of obsession? Like, where do you feel like is the line that we draw there?
I think it was a character in there. What's her name? Vienna. Vienna. How do you pronounce that
Vivien?
name? Vivien. Yeah. She had a good point when she was saying like, I don't care what you're doing here, kind of, but you are here.
Right.
We are here.
Right.
So there's a reason why you're here. So I was wondering at that point, like, what was Adrian's reason? What is your reason to come to that party? Everybody got the same invite. You could reject it. You could go your own way. Who were you proving?
Mm,
Who are you proving? Like all of them, I was just wondering. Some of them was like he was a critic. That was his job and that's what he wanted to do. So he knew what he wanted to prove, right?
right.
Um, but Adrien, I was a little confused. I was like, okay, who is he proving? What? What's the point?
Mm.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
You are there, so you're just one of them, right?
Okay. And when you say you're just one of them, do you feel like, his ability to resist the temptation that other people seem unable to resist, with just all the indulgence at the banquet, at the table, do you feel like that makes Adrien somehow like not superior, but like different or set apart? Or do you feel like it isolates him from the human experience? Because we hear a lot of these, Nabiha, we hear a lot of, well, isn't that just the human experience? Like, what else do we have teeth for? What else do we have a stomach for? What else,
Hmm.
people will say, this is the human experience. So what do you feel about that?
I don't think he was doing that because he was going through a human experience by just making a choice. It's like he's on that table. He's part of them. He is going through the human experience. He just made a different choice, right? The whole table was about choices. Some of them made the choices, earlier. Some of them, so he just took a different route, but he's still part of them, so that's why I was just confused about what was he proving,
Right.
you know so now you just left, and everybody else, stayed. But yeah, I just think he wasn't going to miss out the human experience. That was the human experience, just a different choice.
And you've actually encountered this, I'm sure, where people will, tell you things like, it seems like you're missing out on something, or what are you missing out on, and you don't feel like you're missing out on anything. Like you feel like you're a part of everything,
Yeah.
even if you're not partaking of the same things that people partake of. Like even if you don't have to put on your plate what other people are putting on their plate to be able to make a choice or a conscious decision. I love what you said about choices because that's definitely what the book is about. One
Mm.
of my favorite quotes of all time is, we all make choices, but in the end, our choices make us.
Yeah.
And when I heard that one time, I wasn't ready for that. But then years later, I reflected back and I said, wow, that's true. You know, it's
Right.
true.
It's
So,
true.
so you mentioned Vivien. So Vivien Aldridge, she's the socialite. She's the one that, needs to be noticed, that needs to be seen. And with Vivien's character, she kind of thrives on being seen indulging at the table. Do you feel like that makes her like a hedonist? You know how people say like someone's hedonistic, or is her pleasure performative rather than authentic? Like, what do you feel about her dynamic in the story?
I think it's very authentic.
Hmm.
I mean, she's the one who reminded me of the Hollywood, right? So indulging in things doesn't just have to be food, it's everything. Like we consume things, it could be a fame, it could be music, it could be anything, right? So she reminded me of the hunger for fame,
Mm.
you know? She reminded me of the hunger for attention, for
Yeah.
validation, to be seen. She didn't care. Like I just want to be known and I can be the end of it,
Mm.
the end of my story. So I felt like she came, that was her purpose, right? So that it was an unfortunate that it ended like that for her because of, she wanted a different route. It wasn't the food that's supposed to end her,
Mm.
but she wanted the attention for Dominic, right? She wanted the attention of the fame. So yeah, there are a lot of people that are seeking one thing and then their life end different, right?
Right.
So
That's a good
she's just
point.
just like that. Anyone that's in LA seeking fame in Hollywood, getting into these wrong doors and all of that, that's same thing. Drugs,
Mm.
drugs take you to different places just because of you seeking that validation, you seeking that. Um, Everybody just want to be seen and heard.
So good point, Nabiha. Great point, actually, because that's awesome that you pinpointed that, and you're able to see that there's so many different levels of hunger. You know, there's a hunger for food, and then a hunger for fame.
Mm-hmm.
Like these are different types of hunger, but it's still all hunger.
We focus too much on the food that sometimes it just hurts me. I'm like, oh, why do we focus on the food so much? We just have to find that balance with food and then figure out all the other layers of programming that's there. That's limiting us, that's limiting even the human experience. We are not even fully experiencing as a human. We are thinking about beyond, right? But now we are stuck on that food. Oh, no, I don't want that burger. I'm going to stay away from this. It's not the food. It's not the food you know but yeah, it's the mind.
Wow. Wow. Just bringing it back to the mind, just bringing it back to where it all stems from,
Yeah, it's the
that,
lack.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's, it's the internal. So when it comes to how much of Vivien's identity is shaped by the approval of others, would she enjoy the banquet if there was no one else to witness her indulgence? Do you think it would be worth it? If there was no one else to watch her, do you think she would even enjoy it?
No, she wouldn't.
Yeah.
She wouldn't. I don't even think she would want that food or anything. She just wanted the
Mm.
attention.
Okay. So some people, it's also like when you've seen a lot of us, like a lot of people on social media, and I mean, I've even done it in the past. I've fallen into it as well, where we can't just sit in front of something at the table. Like you'll be with somebody, and then right before they eat, like they have their plate, they have everything situated, everything set up, everything looks nice, lights, camera, action. They take out their cell phone, and they kind of take like a nice little picture, bloop, of the food of the plate, and then they upload it to social media before they start eating, you know? So it's almost like they need other people to see, what they're having, or like, look at this, look at the assortment, look at the colors, like, look at the, like, look at what I'm about to dine on before they dine on it, before they have that experience. We do the same thing with, I was seeing people on the cruise ship I was on just recently, where you have somebody taking a picture of the ocean without actually looking at the actual ocean. They're kind of just looking at their camera, and then they take the picture, they submit the picture somewhere on social media, and then they're scrolling. Then they're scrolling, right? So they're
Mm.
not actually witnessing the nature. They're capturing the nature and then submitting it for other people to see it. So, I mean, these are different dynamics of that same thing.
Yeah, it really is. I think it's just an old habit that's been just updated. The praying over the food. Now we're praying over the food. This is the new way of praying over the food, like show to the world. Not before it was like, thank you God for giving me this food. We are so programmed to think that this food is what keeps us alive, right? Whatever that's in front of us is what keeps us alive. So, since this is keeping us alive, let's tell God, thank you for keeping me alive. So, it's kind of like a program that runs very deep. And now, every time someone is taking something, oh, in the beginning, I didn't understand when people say, I eat good. And I used to say, like, what do you mean eat good? I just couldn't understand the term. It just didn't make sense to me. And then people take pictures and, oh, that person is eating good. And I'm like, what does it even mean? I didn't understand. But it's that validation that they're looking forward to, like every day. It's like, how many likes have I got on my food? Or maybe I can just work with just posting food because everybody likes food. I don't know. And when it comes to the pictures I'm guilty of that as well, but I try to enjoy it. When I was a kid, I remember my foster mom once said, Japanese people, she said, because we had a lot of tourists from Japan in Norway that would be on the mountains taking pictures and stuff. And she used to say this. She said, Japanese people will travel and travel and travel, but they will not know where they're being until they print out those pictures and look at it and say, oh, I was in Norway. And we used to make fun of that. And now that's what we do. We just go to places and then we upload the pictures and look at it, but we don't see it in actuality.
So it's like pictures, pics, or it didn't happen. Like if
Yeah,
you don't have the evidence,
it
did it
didn't happen.
actually happen?
Hmm. Yeah, but that's not true. We need to capture pictures here.
I mean, these are the original, the eyes of the original
Hmm.
apertures. They're the original, every
Yeah,
time you blink, that's a picture right there. You're taking pictures all the time with your eyes.
yeah,
I feel like
right.
that's where the shutter on the camera lens comes from.
Hmm. Really, everything is just an extension of ourselves. That car that you see right now, transportation is our natural teleportation, you know? We just don't know how to teleport anymore. So now we rely on external things. It's just, yeah, we don't need to go too deep into that.
So, okay, so we saw Vivien. So now the next one you talked about the critic. So the critic in this novel is Rupert. So Rupert Hawthorne. Rupert comes to the banquet determined to remain unimpressed. Like he just wants to, write his little article at the end. Is his skepticism a form of protection, you think, or does it prevent him from truly experiencing life?
I don't think it prevents him from experiencing. I think he just have his own character. I think he's more like a firm on his choices than other characters on there because he was already set. Oh yeah, whatever this is going on. He was always suspecting something, so he wasn't going into like Vivien or all the other people. They had other expectations, but he was like, okay, I'm gonna speculate this. So he was already in that lens of like, let me figure out what's going on here. So I would think he would get saved by just his speculations, but he was also trapped in it. So, I guess our desires are stronger than us sometimes.
Sometimes. I mean, I've definitely felt this in the past that my desires had superseded my ability to think rationally. I mean, to think logically about something, emotions can often supersede that.
Hmm.
They can definitely, our desires can take hold, you
Hmm.
know? So things can unfold in that way. And as a food critic, do you feel like Rupert is he actually objective, or does his cynicism kind of blind him just as much as the indulgence is blinding other people? Like, do you feel like there's too much, or can someone be too cynical in that way?
I'm not sure with Rupert. Okay, I'm not sure. Trying to remember. Was he the one that was analyzing the chefs?
He was analyzing like all of the meals and just,
Yeah, the
the
chefs,
whole.
like, what are they doing there? If he wasn't the one that wanted a special meal, right?
Well, yeah, they all kind of got special meals. Yeah, yeah. Towards, but Grayson Locke, we're gonna
Yeah,
get
that's
to
that's
him
the one.
next.
That's the one that was
Grayson
like
was the tech
entitled to
mogul.
a lot of things. Okay,
Yeah, he's
okay, so
the
it's not him.
entitled.
Yeah. Um, I mean, he came there to analyze and observe and everything, and then, you know, it got too
Yeah.
strong. So it got too strong. But I think that's what happened in the world as well. A lot of people stay healthy, try to stay healthy, this,
Yeah.
and then that can also go wrong.
Right. And so you feel that someone can be an observer and also a participant
Hmm.
because you've been in
Hmm.
both roles as
Hmm.
well. Yeah.
Hmm. Of
Okay.
course, that's the key.
That's key.
That's the key to be the observer at the same time be the participant, because that way you don't need to be the victim. You're acting, right?
When,
So you're part
when
of the
does
act. You have to be part of the act, but knowingly.
when does someone become the victim? Like when does victimhood start to set in, you'd say?
I mean, victimhood is like when you think you are, the story. When you know you're not the actor, like when you participate in an act, like knowingly that you are an actor going in there, this is not you, then you will know what to do. But if you go in an act not knowing and you think that's your reality, now you're the victim of that, right? So that's the same thing with the reality. Like, this is not your story, does not have to define you, right? Your story is not you. But if you become the story, that's when you become the victim of reality.
Okay.
That reality happening to you, you have to happen to reality.
Happen to reality. Don't let
Mhm.
reality happen to
Mhm.
you. That's, oh wow. That's a great distinction. Great
Yeah.
distinction. So you mentioned just now the entitled mogul, the tech mogul, the entitled one is Grayson Locke. So Grayson Locke, he's like the billionaire tech mogul. And, he believes everything has a price and everything can be
Mhm.
possessed, like everything, no matter what, all it matters is this, like, this is the only thing that matters. And is his pursuit of rare experiences, do you feel like it's a mark of ambition, or do you feel it reveals a deeper emptiness that's actually inside?
Both.
Hmm.
Both, you know? Like, even if you get all the money in the world, there's that lack. You want to just, like I always say, like there's a void that people just want to fill. And I'm trying to understand what that void is, you know? Like it doesn't, money is not filling it because so many people with a lot of money but miserable, right? All they have is just money. They don't know what to do with it. It's just that emptiness. People think they can fill it with sex, they can fill it with, food, they can fill it with, vacations and this and this and that. Like, and some people also always seek to be, the one. Have you noticed? Like, even if they get, waking up, they want to be the guru, they want to be the enlightened one, they want to be the Jesus that's returning. There is always something, like that a human being is always seeking and want because of there's a lack, you know and I think that lack, until you address that lack, money, whatever you put in, is not going to, stop it. You have to just go within. So whether he'd had, even if he had money, he was there. He thought like, okay, everything has a price, and this, and that. But can you save yourself from yourself? You know, that's the point. So
Mm.
it's like go within and know, like, okay, what's the purpose of all of this? Why do you need the validation? Why do you need to be the one? Why do you need to be acknowledged? Why do you need to be known? Why do you need to leave legacy? Why do you need all of that? Where is that all coming from? Why? Why do you need to be known? What are you doing? What you're doing? Like, all of that needs to be dissolved, really. So I don't know. What can save you unless you accept that?
Yeah. Acceptance. This is big. These are big messages. Like what you're saying right now, it goes deep. It goes all the way down to the root, to the root cause of what is the crux of so many, just illusions, like you're saying, just the Maya, the illusion, and why, not just what, not just how, but why, just
Yeah,
understanding why at the core of everything. Why? And like you said, it doesn't matter how much of this, this can, it seems to solve a lot of problems, but can it save you from yourself? That sounds like the big question.
yeah, yeah. I mean, really, everybody just feel that lack, and they just want to feel it. And we hang on to ideas, even if it's not food. If you release yourself from the burden of food, if you release yourself from the burden of like some addictions that you've had, so whatever it is, this you in life as long as you're alive, you're in here, right? So, like, you would have an idea. Some people hold on to an idea because the idea brings some kind of comfort, right? It brings you some kind of direction. Now, that direction, where are you going? Have you asked yourself, where are you going? And then it's like, okay, when you get there, then what?
Mm,
Then what, right? Right. So life, I think, is like an experience that we need to really experience in the moment as it is today,
mm,
right? Because every day, tomorrow is not guaranteed,
right.
right? Every day is right here, but we always want to just like go far, and we just want to think about what's there instead of here, right? So if we focus on here more, I think we will enjoy life, and then I think we would understand life more
Mm,
than always trying to reach something. I think maybe, okay, the only thing I can think of, the reason why we're searching, maybe we are searching for ourselves. You know, what is it otherwise? What is this lack that always needs to be, what do we, I don't know.
Yeah.
It must be ourselves. I don't know.
So you are the one that you're looking for.
I think so. It must be, yeah.
Yeah.
It must, the most logical thing, I'm just looking for myself.
Yeah. And that was a beautiful, just how eloquent you said that. It's almost like, we remove a lot of the fear when we just focus on here.
Hmm.
When we're not over there, we're a lot more aware when we're not over there, you know?
Exactly.
So what we
Hmm.
just focus on here, all those worries disappear when we focus on here. Okay. Because here is all we have. Today is all we have. Now is all we have. When we think about it, you don't have the future. The past is no longer, I mean, all we have is right
Tomorrow
now.
is not guaranteed. Yeah,
Yeah.
really. But we really focus on tomorrow. That's not, we don't even know it's going to
We have no
arrive, right?
idea. We have no idea. This is a great message. So if an experience is only meaningful because it is exclusive, this is kind of Grayson Locke's philosophy. Like
Mm.
he wanted the exclusive, he wanted the behind the scenes, the location that is undisclosed, and the exclusive and the exotic, and all these things that he can buy with his money. If an experience is only meaningful because of its exclusivity, is it truly valuable? Like, is that value?
It is to the person. To them, it is.
Hmm.
I mean, even let's say that Grayson had a special meal made for him, just for him. Okay, they wanted. Even though the whole party is a special, the whole thing is special, right? It would only satisfy his ego,
Mm,
nothing else. It would just satisfy his ego, but he didn't get it. So that it kind of like creates some kind of paradox within him, right?
that's another hunger. The ego is another hunger.
Hmm.
Okay, okay. And can one ever truly own an experience, or is the attempt to do so inherently futile? That's an interesting question too. Can we actually own an experience?
Hmm. In my opinion, I don't think so.
No.
I mean, like, you are attached to the experience if you want to own it, right?
Hmm.
That means like it becomes, when you hold on to something, it's no good no longer anymore. So if you hold on to an experience, there's something in there that you're just holding on to. So what is it?
It's kind of reminds me of like if you're standing next to a river of flowing water, and this majestic flowing of nature that's just rushing this river, and you put your hand in the river and you try to pull it out with your fist. You want to own it, you try to pull it out, and then you open your fist, you don't have it, you know
Yeah,
but if you just dip your hand into the water and you just open your hand with the open palm and you just allow the water to flow past your fingers, past your hand, just you feel the sensation of the river itself without having to own it, without having to grasp it, without having to keep it.
exactly.
That's like experience, you know?
Exactly. Exactly. You don't have to be attached to it.
Right.
It's experience. Flow through. All life is flow,
Yeah.
really. That's where you find the balance, in the flow.
Okay, so the next character, maybe this was your favorite character, I don't know, but I
Oh,
know you were
Willow.
talking a lot about Willow. Willow is the idealist. So Willow Hart, she views the banquet as a grotesque display of excess. Yet she chooses to be there, like you said before. And is her presence there, even though she got the invitation, she came on her own accord. Do you feel like Willow's presence is hypocritical, or does it reflect an internal conflict between like principle and desire? Like, what do you feel about her presence there at the banquet?
She reminded me of the pranic families.
In what way?
You know, it's just, I mean, it's like when you recite something and then when you have it and then you regret it
Mm.
and you battle with yourself, it's like you don't have a ground. You don't know yourself somehow. So it's like saying, you know, putting yourself in the fire knowing you're gonna get burned, you know? So she kind of knew, but then at the same time, like the guilt part and stuff like that reminded me of the Pranic families. And
So she asked for it? You feel like she asked for it?
I mean, yeah, she's making the choice. This whole book is about choices, right?
Mm.
So she made the choice, but then at the same time, I feel like Willow is more like a baby in there,
Mm.
you know? There's like I don't know how to explain it.
Like a baby. Because she had morals, she had ethics, she had
Yeah,
principles, she
but
had
she was
things.
in a war with
There you
herself somehow.
go. There you go. Yes.
Yeah, that's the part where, like, okay, what are you doing there?
And you've seen this, in other people. You've seen people who are at war with
Exactly.
themselves, where there's this cognitive dissonance where they're conflicted,
Hmm.
and they feel like they're too restrictive, but on the outside they're conflicted. You know?
It's like Willow, even if she didn't go to that table or to that invitation, right? Her life was okay.
Yeah.
She could have keep on going that way. But she put a restriction on it, and she just put some weight on her own journey. I feel like, so it's the same thing as the chronic people. It's like they are living their life. It's fine, you know, but then now you make it so serious that you made it just the problem.
Mm.
For yourself. Now you are in conflict with yourself. But if Willow didn't even come to that invitation, she'll be
Should be
fine. She'll be
fine.
fine.
Okay. So don't put yourself in the fire if you're afraid to get burned.
Yeah,
Don't.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
like if you know there's a fire and you've been stepping away from the fire and you know where to go and stuff, why would you want to go in there? If you find your way around it, you know what
That's
I
it's all coming back to why. Like we're circling back to the why question. I
mean?
love this.
Yeah.
So,
So
is there a way to appreciate beauty without possessing or consuming? And where does one draw the line between admiration and indulgence? That's an interesting one. Like, I guess that kind of makes it seem like there's a difference between like Willow and Adrien, whereas
hmm
they both know what they would avoid or what they would not resist, but what they don't resonate with. They understand what they don't resonate with. But whereas Adrien can kind of abstain and refrain, Willow is unable. She's unable to do that. She doesn't have enough kind of strength in her way for her to say, let me just surrender and just, see what happens.
yeah.
Yeah.
What does that tell you? Like, I know the similarity between Willow and Adrian, and I've thought about that. And it's just that if you see two people fasting,
Mm-hmm.
one keep on going and one stopped at one point,
Mm-hmm.
you know, they're the same.
Mm-hmm.
You it's just that Willow just took the glass of water. If they would, having a long natural state, for example, Adrian continued and Willow took a sip of water, but they both were aware, and in tune with themselves to know that, okay, this is testing myself somehow, so she didn't pass her own test and he passed his own test.
Okay. Okay. And how does one reconcile with like personal ethics, just based on your observation and with lived experiences? Like, is restraint, is it, I think we touched on this, but if someone says that restraint is a virtuous path, or is it something that is also a form of fear? The thin line between something righteous or something virtuous, or something you're just afraid of, that you're just avoiding. Because I've even heard, I've heard this because I've been to multiple retreats with Elitam,
Hmm.
and he has even told us in the past, like, when people ask him, don't you want it? Doesn't a pizza, tempt you? Doesn't pasta tempt you? Don't these things tempt you? Aren't Isn't there any temptation? And he's like, no, I've gone too far. I'm scared. Like he actually said,
Mm,
no, I'm afraid. I've gone too far. I don't want that in my body because I'm afraid of what's going to happen. I might completely lose it,
mm.
if I go back to the way that I did before. So, what is the thin line you would say?
Um, when it comes to that, I mean, it's all in the balance, right? So
Yes.
that fear, for example, that every time I've developed, like, oh, I've gone too far, so now I can't, have this because of I don't know what it would do to me. In the beginning, you wanted to transform your body into like something that's very unique, right? Like something that it's strong that nothing can touch. And now a little spaghetti can kill you. How far have you come, right, in your journey, and what is your point? So to me, the reason why I like the balance between the solids and the liquid is because of I don't want to make my system into a completely different system that cannot tolerate a little thing that it used to, right? So now I'm making myself so fragile that I can't even tolerate anything, right? So I like to think of myself as being, protected at all costs, right? So that's why I always say, like, if I want to have something, I would have something. If you ask me last time I had something, I cannot remember. But in my internal program, there's no restriction,
Yeah.
right? There's
Right.
no restriction. If I'm juicing my watermelons and whatever, I will get it, chew on it if I want to. I'm not restricted in that kind of sense because I don't want to make my body into a body that cannot tolerate the normal thing that people can do now, right? So I don't have the fear of going back in something, but I don't resonate with it. It's not my energy. So there
That's
is
the
no way I
difference.
would feel like, so maybe internally my body will reject it and say like, okay, hey, this is pain. So if I see some food and some solid foods that I know has like so many different ingredients and stuff like that that my body cannot resonate with, my body knows to reject it. Not in a way that is a restriction, not in a way that comes from the mind, but it's just the internal knowing that, hey, this is not my fuel.
Mhm.
Like I don't just go and eat on rocks and leaves and stuff. I just don't go and chew on things, right? Because there's nothing in me that says like that rock is
Right.
edible, right? So it's the same thing if you put a burger in front of me. Why would I feel any desire because I don't have that? So that's why it's good to work from within. So you don't have to like say, like, okay, I don't want this food and I need to change my diet into this and into this. And then you go into this restriction and now you make your body even, more restricted so you can't tolerate different things. Does that make sense?
That makes
Yeah.
perfect sense. So
Yeah.
that's the difference.
That's the difference. Now you have another fear. So now I'm going to be on this journey because of I can't have that because I'm scared of it.
Mm.
But I understand that, for some people, maybe that is good for them if they want to be on a journey of not, if food hurts you and you have to, like, break your machine to not really, tolerate that. I don't know. Maybe that works because if they can't handle the mind. I have no idea, but
Okay, so we're back to mind mastery. Mind mastery is just the handling of the mind that perceives that this is not good for me, can, but the body that can also handle the experience if you were able to partake. So if you chose to have it,
mhm.
the body itself wouldn't break down because the mind doesn't believe that, yeah, okay, so,
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly. There is no way a little spaghetti gonna kill me. I know, like, that's not my energy. It's not something that, is resonating with me and stuff like that, but I can develop a sensitivity to it that it can kill me because I need to be as strong as, okay, this is not even my fuel. If it comes into my body, I need to have something that eliminates it immediately, right? But if I eat, I've went to the point where I've been on liquor for so long that I felt like I was choking when I took anything that was solid. And that's when I felt like, okay, hey, my whole chest and everything is just compressed. And I don't want to feel like that every time I see solid, now I'm scared. Now
right.
I don't want to. So then I will develop that. I will kind of like create my body to be fragile to those things, you know. So I don't want to be like that.
Yeah.
I don't want to be like that. So then I have to, yeah, I need to find the balance.
I agree. I agree. And I also definitely resonate with you that I felt that sensation multiple times in the past when I did go back to solids and it was like I thought I was gonna die, you know? So there was a conflict where it was like, okay, wait a minute, has my body gone so far that, you know, that I can't go back? There was a fear like, wait, even if I wanted to go back, could I actually go back? You know, that was a whole fear of the mind. So we're going back to the balance and
Mm,
just maintaining that mental mastery of your vehicle because there, I mean there really is no separation. The mind body connection, they're the same.
really.
They're the same. So whatever the mind believes, the body receives.
Hmm.
For sure. For
Hmm.
sure.
I mean,
It
this is
makes
an
sense.
experience, right? And the body is nothing but a tool.
Yeah.
I mean, I know a lot of us think like, this is me, this is my body, you know? But it's nothing but a tool. So even if, let's say, like, even if you are, being detached from the things that stimulate your mind for you, when we get these foods and everything, it kind of like changes our view. The way we see reality, the things we hear, everything, it changes because of every food and everything that we put into our body kind of change our reality, right? Just because of we are trying to see the clearer picture, we need to know what we're putting into our body. But that doesn't mean that this body here, you have to develop it in a way that you have to take it to a different place. This is what's within that you need to wake up. It's what's within. So when that wakes up, you need to know like how to maintain this tool in order for it to take you far. But if you think you are this tool and now you're restricting this tool and then you're playing with this tool, now where are you? Who's going to experience this? Right? You need to have the strongest vehicle. You need to know what kind of fuel you take in order for you to go on this road. You know? So
Wow.
that's how I feel. Like it's like this is just my body, this is my tool, so I need to just know, like, okay, this is the fuel that I need to give. This is how I need to clean it. This is how I need to maintain it. This is what I need to change. This. But it's the me that's just waking up in it, and it's the me that will be driving. So I can't neglect this body,
Yeah.
right? Does that make sense?
So
So
it's
yeah,
not like I love this. I love this. So it's not like these are the rules that I use for my tool. It's like this is the fuel that I use for my tool. Like this is the
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. So then you need to know, like, what is this? First is like, what is this made out
Mhm.
of, right? What are we made of? If you just think about it, what are we made of? And then you look around, right? It's the same
Yeah.
thing, except the thing that we add on as a human being, and we create like the artificial thing. But everything else just go together. Everything just melt in together, right? So you basking in the sun or like taking fresh air and all of that is nourishing. But for us to make the journey into like, oh hey, you know what? You can just sit in the sun and you can just bask in the sun and you don't need anything else. And you good. A lot of people misunderstand that, right? It's just remembering that you are not this tool. You're beyond this, but this is your tool. So now this tool has the wrong fuel. This tool has like, wrong programming. This tool is confused. Correct it, use it.
Yes.
Right?
Okay. Okay.
That's how I see it. That's just my own opinion.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And this is why I'm here. This is why I love having these conversations and just going to these different levels of understandings and understandings with you, Nabiha, because we have one more character in the book, and of course that's Dominic. you know and Dominic
Yeah.
is the visionary, but someone could also say he's a manipulator. So do you feel like he's a visionary or a manipulator, or is his pursuit of indulgence an act of enlightenment or destruction? Like, where do you feel like he falls on those spectrums?
I mean, there are many of him in this reality. He reminds me of all the leaders, you at the top. So, what was your question? What was the?
Yeah, like is he a visionary or just a manipulator?
I think he's
And
a
is
visionary.
a visionary? You see him as a visionary.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. In what way?
I mean, you can say that he manipulated, you know, but the manipulation was just a part of the vision, you know? So he's seen it, he analyzed just like Adrien did, he's analyzing the consumption from a different perspective. So life is based on perspectives, right? That's why I'm saying Adrien and Dominic are just coming from a different perspectives. Neither of them are right or wrong, you know. Maybe in this book, maybe it looks like he's a demon, and he's the bad guy, but it really isn't. It
Mm.
really isn't. He had a vision, you know.
Wow.
He thought about it. Nobody would have been so, detailed as him as if he have not, studied this. Adrien studied it. He studied it. He took a different approach. He took a different approach,
Right. Right.
right? So for him, it was just okay, let me test. And everybody else is testing with me, but this will be the end of me, right? So he
Mm-hmm.
wanted to go that far,
Mm-hmm.
while Adrien was also just testing himself by restricting
I
himself.
see.
Mm.
I see. So it's like they say, only by going too far a person can find how far one can go.
Mhm.
Like you have to go the distance to realize how far you can actually go. And I guess both Adrien and Dominic were willing to go the distance, you know. And even if the other characters were unwilling to go that distance, they still went the distance
I mean,
in
they
the end.
went.
Yeah, they
I
went.
mean, Vivien went for her
Yeah,
fame. She that was her
right.
route. So everybody, that was their route. Maybe, you know, same with Willow. You all the hard work and everything is just okay. You know.
Yeah. Does the philosophy that, Dominic has about embracing indulgence without restraint, because that was one of the things he wanted them to just surrender, no restraint, just give in to your, indulge, give in to the temptation, give in to your compunction, give in to your
Hmm.
desires, your needs and your wants. Does that giving in, does that embracing of indulgence without restraint, does it actually offer freedom, or does it merely mask a deeper fear of mortality? Because that was another lesson in the book on mortality.
I mean, why did they have to be given the permission by another person?
Ooh.
You know, like he didn't have to stand there and say like, "Hey, tonight I'm giving you the permission to indulge." Like I have that permission every day. you know?
It's like we give ourselves permission.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like every day I have the choice to consume anything that I really want, right? And the choice is always yours. So like for him to just, plan and orchestrate this whole party for everybody, that was his vision. And everybody was just a guest, and every guest, when you have a party and the guests have the choice to eat or not eat and leave and stay, right?
Yeah, people have talked about those parties. Like I've seen a lot of stories about these parties where it's like permission. It's almost like
Mm.
permission is required, and once it's granted, but it could be denied. Like you have the choice to deny, but if if the access is granted, then it's like, hey, that was a choice, and we deal
Mm.
with the consequences of giving ourselves permission to go the distance once again. We have to deal with whatever it
Mhm.
comes with. That's us also giving ourselves permission, because I've had family members and friends, tell me, hey, Jerome, are you sure you can't have this? Like, I feel so bad eating this in front of you. You sure you can't have it? You can't have this? And I'm telling them, like, I can have whatever I want. I'm
Not
choosing
to.
not to. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. That's how it's supposed to be. But if I was like, no, no, I can't have it. I'm fasting today. Oh, I can't have it because this. I'm not choosing. I'm restricting,
Hmm. Okay.
right? I'm restricting myself. I don't like the fact that, okay, let's go on this so many days on natural. No, let it just happen.
Wow.
Let it just
Yeah.
happen. Like, let me do the things that I love to do, and then this food thing is just gone.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even think about it. But for me to just sit and say, like, okay, hey, let me do 7 days, let me do 4 days, let me do this day. If I want to have fun with it and I just want to test myself for fun, yeah. But the fact that we are restricting ourselves and, making it into like a difficult game, it's not.
Okay. Okay. And the last thing about Dominic, and thank you for that, by the way, because that's a big message that people need to hear, especially now. Is Dominic truly providing his guests with an awakening, or do you feel like he kind of exploits their desire for his own artistic satisfaction? I think you kind of answered that
Kind of
with you
both.
both?
He did both, yeah.
Both. Okay.
I mean, he
Okay.
made them question themselves.
Right.
Everybody was questioning themselves, the choices they made in life, and everything. So somehow he made them reflect on themselves, whether he did it, some people, a guru can sit in front of you and tell you all the nice things, and it makes you reflect on yourself. And then it could be someone like Dominique, and he can, you know, tell you to surrender to the most, fearful thing maybe within yourself. To me,
Mm,
I was just thinking about, like, okay, if somebody told me, like, okay, just surrender to all your desires today, I'd be like, I don't know, first plate, I'm done. That would be my whole entire pleasure. But for people to keep on going and keep on going and keep on going, even when they're full, where is the desire coming from?
right.
Doesn't it end? I'm asking
Where
a question.
where does it come from?
Where
Like,
does it
yeah,
come
where,
from?
yeah.
Like, let's say, like, if I'm craving something, let's say, on my cycles, those are the times that I crave something and I want something sugar. And let's say I had some sugary or like a sweet juice, then now that desire is gone. You can put like 100 cups in front of me. There's no way I would just keep on drinking. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah,
it
like
is
we
gone
keep on,
already.
yeah,
I quenched it
it's
on the first glass.
like
So
the desire should be fulfilled. It should be fulfilled.
yes, yeah. So for
But
them
we
to just
keep,
sit there and then he come with a new plate and they just keep on eating, and oh my god, I can't stop myself. Like yeah, I couldn't be a victim there.
but you've seen this too, Nabiha. Like you've seen this firsthand where we will have like a whole, smorgasbord. Like we will have a whole feast in front of us. And I mean, by the first few bites, the desire really is already fulfilled. It's
Hmm.
already done. We're already done.
Yeah.
But it's like we keep going. We don't stop. And I did this myself for many years. I would stretch. It was like I felt like I wasn't full until there was nothing, like my stomach was completely distended. I was bloated. I was, until like it
Mm.
was all, and I mean, when you're thinking about animals in nature, a creature will stop instinctually. They'll stop eating if they're sick. They won't eat. Like
Mm.
my cat, he won't eat. If he's sick, he's not gonna eat, but
Yeah.
but a human being, for some reason, we go against that wiring or our own nature. We go
Hmm.
against that.
Hmm. I think I know the problem, kind of. I think it's um I think it's the problem is looking for fullness. Who wants the fullness? Like, it's pain, so if you seek in that fullness, I think that's the problem. I think that's the problem, because now you don't even care about what it is. That's why I say, but if you don't like it, would you still eat it? Yeah, people want to just be full, so I think the problem is wanting to be full, so you have to be empty for a period of time in order for you to know, like, how it feels to really be normal. And then you will know that fullness is actually pain, so you will never seek fullness. I really don't. I really think it's the problem that people are seeking fullness. Like, the clients that I work with, they will go and eat, and they will say, like, "Oh, but I'm still not full."
Ah, Okay.
I'm like, but you just ate. It doesn't matter if you're full or not. Like,
Okay.
it doesn't it like quench some kind of thirst, like something that some kind of satisfaction happens? Does it happen? It's a fullness that brings the satisfaction then?
Mm.
So what is it that brings the satisfaction? Is it fullness? Because if the fullness, then you would just keep on going, keep on going, keep on going. And that's
Yeah.
dangerous.
Yeah, so it's kind of like the question of, with the guests that are unable to stop eating, they're unable to stop consuming. It's like their appetites in certain scenes in the book, you see them spiraling, like they're
Hmm.
spiraling in a downward spiral into compulsion. Now it's just on compulsion. Now they're ordering more. Now they're getting room service. Now they're getting more,
Yeah.
and so it's almost like, at what point does the pleasure transform into imprisonment, like another form of
Hmm.
prison?
Oh
Yeah.
my God. Yeah. I, I keep thinking about the lady in the hotel room too, that was keep on ordering and ordering.
Right.
And yeah. Hmm. Yeah, it's an
Like just another
addiction.
case.
It's an
Yeah.
addiction. Like a crackhead will also just or any alcoholic, they won't stop. The problem with the alcoholic is like everybody, people go and take a drink here and there, but when you become an alcoholic is when you don't know when it's enough.
And somebody addicted to crack, I mean, they'll whatever if it's a strong substance, like I've heard of people who will spend like hundreds of dollars, like they'll find a way to get what they need to get what they need. Like whatever they have to
Yeah.
do, they'll
Yeah.
get it. They're gonna get it by the end of the day, before the day is done. And sometimes they have to find the funds that other people pay for an apartment. To stay in an apartment, they have to find that amount of money to get what they need to get real quick.
Hmm.
But they'll find a way to do it. Like they supersede
Hmm.
all odds that are
Literally,
against
I've
them.
heard a homeless person say that their crack, their daily habit costs $500.
It's
Daily
real.
habit,
It's
okay?
real.
They need to get up in the morning and get $500 for their addiction.
Wow.
I don't see any wrong. Like they do the same thing with, people go and work every day
Mm.
just to feed their habits.
Wow.
It's the same thing.
It's just another level of the same
Hmm.
thing.
It's the same. That's why I'm saying like the addiction is in the mind. It doesn't matter what substance it is. Even crack can be managed. You know, So it's the mind that gets obsessive with the thing because of it's seeking something.
Mhm.
It's that void, something that it needs to. It's a lack. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a lack. So people will just go far and far and far into this. That's why they will just keep on eating.
Okay. So there's really no fundamental difference between the hunger for food, for power, for beauty, for validation, for fame, for
The
like
drugs,
crack, for alcohol. Like it's all
same,
the same.
same,
Same.
same,
Okay.
same. I don't know why people are fighting food and stuff because food is so normalized and it's very settled. It's a very settled addiction. But yes, it's all the same.
Yeah, we have let me see. Okay, yes. Stacy is saying yes, same price that people pay to eat
Hmm.
every day. Yes, Stacy. Shout out to Stacy. Dorian is saying, "Oh my God, that's so true. I remember being in college, working minimum wage, but would work towards paying rent, food, and yeah, okay.
That's all we
Yeah.
do. We just pay our habits.
Yeah, I was in that cycle for, I mean, so many years, just to make a dollar, and and this was before I even knew about, energy from other things. Like I didn't know you could get energy from anything else other than food. I didn't know that.
Mm.
So I was kind of just in that cycle of working to get the money to buy the food, to have the energy to go back to work, to get the money to buy the food, to have the energy to get the money to go to work, to do it all over and all over again. And it's when I reflect back, it feels like its own prison, like a prison of my own making, due to
It is.
yeah,
And your home is your prison, and like nobody is even guarding you. You pay for your own self. You
yeah.
pay for your own drugs. You know, whatever that's keeping you in this illusion, you're paying for it. You're
Wow.
working for it. So it's kind of like a little cycle. But I mean, that's the fun part of it. Get out of your own mind,
Hmm.
right? That's the part of life.
So if you were invited to this banquet, Nabiha, if you had gotten that golden ticket, that invitation, you
Hmm.
know, would you accept?
Me, it depends on what I have planned.
Ha!
It depends on what I have
You're
planned, you
like,
know.
uh,
Yeah. If it was like, okay, let's see, you know, like Adrien, I would, but I don't think I would be so obvious as him.
mm,
I don't think Dominic would even know, like, if I'm eating, if I'm not eating. I would be part of all of it. He wouldn't know, you know. But definitely, I would leave early.
you would leave early for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd be in and out,
I'll leave early, you
in
know, and I'll be
and
like, what
out.
happened next day? Yeah.
Oh
But,
man.
um,
And did you say already who among the guests that you related to the most?
um, I don't have one that I can say like I relate to. I mean, I guess I can relate to all of them.
Mm, okay. So each one for different reasons.
Mhm. Each one
Okay.
for a different reason. Yeah.
Okay.
I can
And
I can like literally just see and observe and then just think like, okay, hey, you know, I can see myself in everyone.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And I'll pose this next question to everybody who's listening, everybody who's watching. If you knew that a pleasure that you indulged in and continue to indulge in would eventually destroy you, like still would you still partake? That's a question just for people to think about what Nabiha is saying with, the things that kind of lead us on that slippery slope of just understanding like, okay, this is a thing that I'm choosing. I'm using my free will. Nobody's forcing me to, nobody's doing an airplane and putting this in my mouth, right? Spoon feeding me. This is like me going out of my way to have whatever this thing is. And like you said, there's really no distinction between a drug, a substance, and what we think is necessary, like a necessity. A
Mm-hmm.
necessity for one person could be a luxury for another person, and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
Vice versa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I see someone wrote, I would want others to stop me and protect me. And that made me think of, you know, when you ask the question, there are millions of people that are doing it, choosing that, knowing that it would have an ugly end, you know, because of they are not because of, you know, that's what they want, you know, but that's how they feel. And that's how, you know, is that lack again,
Yeah.
right? So, like when this person's saying, I would want somebody to stop me, there are some people that really need guidance, you know, even though food is hurting them, even though, you know, whatever habits that they have, it's hurting them, someone to just redirect them, you know, they really need that. You know, there are so many people that went into the drugs, but if they have family that can take them out of there, they don't longer have to become the victim of that, right? So everybody needs a direction. So people do choose a lot of habits that will end ugly, you know, out of sometimes it's just, you know, the addiction, it's so bad that people don't even know why. You know, you will hurt yourself and you don't even want to hurt yourself, and you're asking like, okay, why do I want to hurt myself? But you keep on doing it. There's something, you know, greater than you inside of you that's really forcing this, you know. So the reminder from other people, you know, and reminding yourself, that helps a lot of people
Yeah.
just to, you know, make that decision on their own. It's not easy. It really isn't. It's something else that's just screaming. Maybe it's the parasite, I don't know, but it's something else.
And you're helping people right now just by speaking that. Like it's so relatable, your words right now, Nabiha. And I know that people who are listening right now are being helped just by listening to that, to know that they're not alone, you know, to know that they're human, they're
Mm-hmm.
a human being having that human experience and just just to feel that their cravings, their compulsions, their state of consumption is, it doesn't have to be their container.
Mm,
You know, it doesn't have to be their prison, you know,
mm,
and just to understand, hey, you know, it's okay. Like, have somebody that you can lean on. If you have somebody you can lean on that can lift you up and give you that
mm-hmm.
encouragement, that can be an embodiment of, you know, what's possible for you to understand that you don't have to remain in that place where you are.
Yeah,
I mean, support systems, they're a godsend. We need them.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
So thank you for that message. And just the last thing is, who do you think this book is for? Like, who would you recommend this book to?
Hmm. I mean, definitely people on the path, you know. For someone that don't even know anything about this path, wouldn't understand much of it because it would just become a story for them, you know. This person is not eating, yeah, that person is doing this. So the whole act will look normal to a person that is in that situation. You know, they wouldn't see. So why would anybody die of that, you know? But for a person that's awake to themselves, maybe this book would be, you know, beneficial. Just understanding that everybody have a mind on their own, everybody have a different perspective on life, you know, and that our choices makes us.
Okay. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Appreciate this. This has been amazing. This has been wonderful.
Nice catching up with you again.
Always.
Yeah, I've been slow reading, but yeah, I have a lot of things going on. So I'm on your next book to see. All
Awesome.
right.
What's the next one you're on?
Uh, isn't it the guy who bought the car? Was it
I think
that?
it's the House of Hunger.
Okay, I started both of them then.
Oh, you started both of them?
So
Oh,
yeah, then I must have started both of them. Yeah, because I have
okay.
one with me right now, and I think it's the Bugatti or
Okay,
what
yeah.
was it?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Breatharian who sold his Bugatti. That's
yeah,
another one.
yeah. That's the one I have with me.
So once you're done with that one, then we'll talk about that
Okay.
one. Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Awesome. All
Thank
right.
you, Jerome.
Enjoy your
Thank you.
day.
All right, you too. Much love.
Much love.